Miss Boo and I are here at Castro and Market Street in San Francisco because we're honoring those who have died in the 9/11 attacks and everywhere else in the world since because of them. So Castro flag here on Castro Street has been lowered to half-mast. There's a sign-in book here we'll sign in. Miss Boo will sign in it too when she's finished prettying herself up. Oh, there's a doggy there. Who's that, Boo? That's a doggy, yeah, pretty doggy. That's a pretty doggy. Anyway, got sidetracked. So, there's supposed to be a speaker here at the Harvey Milk Plaza at 1 o'clock, which is right now. So I guess we better get across there and see what's happening. See y'all in a bit. Looks like we're a bit late.
September 11, 2001 was not a typical day in the United States, and today is not a typical day for us. Bill Wilson and Michael Pachon asked me to help them with this event. I was thrilled, very happy to help out in any regard that I could. I knew who Mark Bingham was, but I'm not here today because Mark Bingham was and is a true American hero. I'm here today because Mark Kendall Bingham from Los Gatos, California, was a second-class citizen in the very country that he sought to protect on Flight 93. Mark had a partner of 6 years, his name was Paul Holt. They weren't married. They couldn't get married legally in their country. Mark Bingham was from California. He recently moved to New York, but he couldn't get married here or there at the time. Because they weren't married, Paul couldn't get any survivor benefits afforded to anyone else on Flight 93 if he let their lives that day. Because Mark and Paul were not a family in the eyes of the law. They were not a family. As crazy as it sounds, if the same tragic event were to happen today, and if Mark and Paul were married, for example, in the state of New York where it's now legal, we have New York's flag here, and the plane went down in Pennsylvania again, Pennsylvania does not recognize marriage equality, no matter if you are married in New York. So again, when the plane went down, they wouldn't be married. That is outrageous. That is outrageous. On September 17th of 2001, Senator John McCain honored Mark Bingham with a speech where he talked about his bravery and his courage and how he defended his country. This year, Senator McCain fought hard against the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. To say, you can fight for your country on an airplane, but you can't fight for your country in the armed forces. That is outrageous. That's outrageous. These things make me angry. They make me angry. And if you care about your civil rights, if you care about the Constitution of the United States, if you care about equal protection under the law, it should make you angry as well. But this is not a typical day, and I need to put away my anger. Today is a day to celebrate Mark Bingham, Father Michael Judge, for the courage they showed and for the heroes that they were for our country. They fought hard for our country, and we're honoring them here today. We have some wonderful speakers lined up, members of our community. We have some music for you later. So it'll be a beautiful day. I'm happy you're all here. I thank you for coming. Our first speaker is Bill Wilson. He did an amazing, amazing job organizing this event against some tough odds. He did a lot of hard work to make it happen. I'm grateful to him for doing that. Bill is the Bay Area's true LGBT community photographer and documentarian, and he's a good man. Bill Wilson.
He really feels a lot more comfortable behind the camera than behind the mic. But I really think that it's important that we're here today, and I've been asked to answer the question, why. We're here because that kid that Harvey Milk talked about still exists and still needs the hope that comes from knowing that there were gay people who acted with bravery and courage on 9/11. When tested, it wasn't important that they were gay or straight. They were human beings who reacted with bravery and courage. But we need to note that there were gay passengers, gay families, gay pilots, gay firefighters, and gay workers in both the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. So that young person in Altoona who called Harvey Milk can gain hope from knowing that Mark Bingham was able to reconcile his love of rugby and his sexuality, and the Father Judge was able to reconcile his love of God and his sexual orientation. Because unless we name it, that young person will never know that just because they are gay doesn't mean that they can't be good enough, brave enough, or loved by God. In organizing this, we did purposely want to remember Father Judd, who was the New York City fire chaplain, who was the first on the scene, who wasn't the first to die, but his death was the first to be certified by the coroners. In this picture at our altar, it's a picture of him with a couple that he knew and had friendship with. Brendan Fay is the person on the right. Brendan Fay told me, on 9/11, the one thing we can take from Michael Judd is in the midst of this hell and war and evil and violence, here is this man who directs us to another possible path as human beings. We can choose the path of compassion and nonviolence and reconciliation. Michael Judd had a heart as big as New York. There was room for everybody, and I think that's the lesson. Those of us in San Francisco can have a unique perspective on 9/11 because one of the planes was in fact headed towards San Francisco. So it's not just that we are here as Americans, but we're here because part of our city family, part of the people that we knew, that we saw on the streets were those who died. And one of those people was Mark Bingham, whose mother I've had the pleasure of meeting once when we dedicated the Rec Center Gymnasium in Mark's memory, and another was in a marriage equality rally. So when I emailed her, she very eagerly sent me a statement to be read. What an honor for Mark Bingham's memory to have the rainbow flag lowered at half-staff at Harvey Milk Plaza on this 10th anniversary of September 11, 2001. The LBG community has been very gracious to the memory of Mark throughout this decade. Mark Bingham's family is very grateful to you all. We will continue together to fight the good fight for the causes which are dear to our community, including marriage equality, fair education regarding the LGBT contribution to California and America's history, dignity for transgender people, equity for gay members of our U.S. Armed Forces, and justice for our immigrant LGBT families. I will be thinking of you all as I gaze across that empty field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where Mark died alongside a handful of other fighters in their attempt to thwart an ugly Islamist terrorist plot to take innocent life at the U.S. Capitol building. Thanks for remembering. Alice Hoagland.
Thank you, Bill. Our mayor is here with us today. Mayor Lee is the first Asian American mayor, one of the top 10 U.S. cities. He was the executive director of the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, serving under Agnos, Jordan, Willie Brown. Clearly he cares about human rights and civil rights. We are honored to have him here with us today. Please welcome Mayor Ed Lee.
Thank you very much. Bill, thank you very much for your eloquent recollection of everything that's occurred here. It's, you know, I am personally full of pride right now being here with all of you. And to be joined by Assemblyman Amiano, Supervisors Wiener and Campos, and former Supervisor Bevan Dupke, to come together with business leaders here, community leaders here, our police department commander, our deputy sheriffs, all of the community coming here in recognition of our pride flag and half-mast to honor not only community heroes, San Francisco heroes, and American heroes. And you know, even though that event that occurred 10 years ago was 3,000 miles away from San Francisco Twin Towers and the Pentagon, we really felt the hurt and the knowledge that our local people here were involved in that. And so it's important to me, it's important to San Francisco that we remember and honor the fallen, including hometown American heroes like Mark Bingham and Betty Young. Betty's telephone call from American Airlines Flight 11 was the first indication that America was under attack, and she relayed that vital information to the ground crew. Mark wrestled for control of United Airlines 93 rather than allow hijackers to fill their mission. 10 years ago, we also learned about the final moments of San Francisco resident Alice Hoagland, who was the victim of terrorism in the Twin Towers. To read about her final phone calls to their loved ones is just as heartbreaking today as it was 10 years ago. To all the families across the nation who suffered and still suffer today, we offer our profound sympathies. We're here today in the Castro to remember two people who are heroes to our community, Mark Bingham and Father Michael Judge. Mark courageously helped stop the suicide mission of Flight 93, taking a stand to protect his country, just as he did protecting the ones he loved. If you read the stories about Mark's life, I really wish I knew him, because he seemed to be full of life. It's the kind of person that you really want to know, because he steps aside beyond himself to help other people. Father Judge entered the lobby of the World Trade Center knowing that the danger that he would face. He still went in and still tried to help and pray for the ones that had already gone. Both men knew the danger that was ahead of them, but that did not stop them from doing what was right and acting selflessly for our country. Their sacrifice, their bravery, and their courage not only showed the heroism that they had, but set an example to others to follow. I also want to thank personally the men and women, the first responders, our firefighters, our police officers, our paramedics, who protect and serve us daily. Our words cannot describe our thankfulness for their heroism and the sacrifices that they make every single day to keep our community and our city safe. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mayor Lee. We have a number of people with us today that would like to speak. We really appreciate